Briefing for Tuesday, the 2nd of May. I'm Stephen Ridgway. Hope if you're in the UK, hope you had a good bank holiday weekend and you're raring to go. It's a new week. There we are. Right, so Apple. Yeah, interesting. Apple are pretty good at keeping on top of security issues. They certainly take it seriously, but they're not very forthcoming with the processes behind how they do some of this stuff. The information that's made public around what exactly they are patching is a little bit confusing. They don't officially bring products to the end of life. They just kind of stop getting updates, except for when they do get updates. That depends on, I don't know, the whim of people in Apple, I guess. But one thing that has been fairly consistent is that there's been a numbering scheme. So iOS 16.4 point whatever, 16.4.1, that sort of thing. They have now started to release what they call rapid security response patches. We don't really know what these are, but they've now got a letter appended. So latest iOS is 16.4.1 brackets A. They say rapid security responses are a new type of software release for iPhone, iPad, and Mac. They deliver important security improvements between software updates, for example, improvements to the Safari web browser, WebKit framework, Stack, or other critical system libraries. And they may be used to mitigate some security issues more quickly, such as issues that might have been exploited or reported to exist in the wild. Yeah. Interesting. Anyway, so there are now likely to be new patches. Did actually check my iPhone is busily did do an update this morning, so it is out if you're in the UK. 16.4.1 brackets A is out and about, so have a look out for these, and I guess we're expecting to see these more regularly in between the more functional software releases that Apple pushes out. Something else that caught my attention over the weekend, there are ongoing attacks on vulnerable Veeam backup servers exposed online. Veeam backup and replication software is popular choice. It's sort of enterprise class stuff, but is a well-known approach to backing up and protecting critical data. However, it appears that there are vulnerabilities in what they call the VBR software, the backup and replication software. Vulnerabilities tracked to CVE 2023-27532 and exposes encrypted credentials to unauthenticated users. So if you are using Veeam, be aware, time to patch. Also, have a little think about why it's on the internet. Looks like T-Mobile has had a second data breach earlier this year. February this year, was it January? I think it was January this year. There was a significant breach. Looks like attackers have been in the systems between late February and March this year as well. So there are, although appears to be a limited number of users affected this time round. it is worth just making sure you are on top of your accounts and your protection for these accounts if you use T-Mobile. I mean, the first attack stole 37 million current postpaid and prepaid customer account details. This is smaller, but it does show that repeat attacks are out there. So even if you have already dealt with that attack, if you're a customer of theirs, make sure you're keeping on top of this stuff because it may well come back to bite you. And then final thing, which didn't exactly break over the weekend, but has been floating around and we haven't mentioned it so far. In the UK, the online safety bill is still working its way through the two houses of Parliament. Wikipedia has pointed out that it could result in Wikipedia either being banned or withdrawn from the UK. So Wikipedia's statement is that insisting upon age verification. So age verification is one of the key components of the online safety bill. Talk about what they're hoping to get out of it and why it will be absolutely, a chocolate teapot of a piece of legislation in a minute. But Wikipedia quite rightly says that forcing them to undertake age verification checks would violate their commitments to collecting minimal data about readers and contributors. Yes, okay, that sounds perfectly fair, and I think if you use any of the these Wikimedia type Wikipedia things, you are aware of the fact that they are quite open with what's there. So I think that this is kind of the tip of the iceberg of problems that are going to be if the online safety bill actually does become law, which it looks like it might well do in 2024. Firstly, the idea, well, a large part of the reasoning behind the bill is to protect children and young people from inappropriate content. We all know that there are all sorts of problems with the stuff which is available and being circulated by young people and teenagers. We've all read the reports of violence, suicide, porn, you name it, and how younger and younger children are being exposed to this stuff. Social media pressure, encouraging suicides, all sorts of mess. There's an absolute mess out there. However, the online safety bill, I really don't think is going to make the slightest bit of difference to any of this stuff. First reason being, anybody from about the age of 12 onwards will know how to get hold of information that they want, regardless of what UK law says. So, everything from kids are experts in using VPNs to access content all around the world, watching shows in America and all the rest of it, evading the security controls put in place by their schools. There's a little arms race going on, has been for a good few years now, around this stuff. And believe me, children, young people are better at this than most of the people trying to protect them. And certainly are better, have better understanding of all of this than anybody in Parliament who's trying to muck about with these rules. Firstly, I don't think it would work. But secondly, I think it would simply drive a whole load of stuff which is currently on the cusp of being okay. Not okay for underage, but appropriate for adults, if you so choose, will push a lot of stuff underground. So all of a sudden, then you've lost any real ability to regulate what's actually going on, even to see what's actually going on. So I think the online safety bill, it includes all sorts of other stuff about backdoors to encryption and you name it. Floating around, I think they're still in there. They were in there at one point. They might have been pulled out. I'm not sure, but backdooring encryption, because we all trust the security services to behave themselves properly. Met Police, and we all, oh dear, know how well they can protect the stuff that and sanctioned backdoors and things absolutely never leak out to anybody that they shouldn't get to, should they? Ever? No? Oh, yeah, good question. And the other thing is that only actually impacts people that are playing the game. Anybody who is of criminal intent or state sponsored will simply use some or other form of encryption that hasn't been backdoored, officially backdoored. This stuff is just well-meaning but completely useless. Anyway, so that is my rant of the day. I think we're just going to rename this podcast Stephen Ridgway's rant of the day. But yeah, the online safety bill, total disaster, and could result in us not being able to look things up on Wikipedia. Well, that's all right, because we can always just go and ask the same questions of ChatGPT and see what AI can make up as an answer. Good, right, that's enough from me for today. I hope you have a great week, and I will speak to you all again tomorrow morning.